Have you ever heard of a hag?
Every sailor knows the story of the hag. Oh, oh. Let's say farewell to Ensign Trag. Oh. He went to shore and met the hag. Oh. With just one gash betrothed they be. Oh. She followed him on land and sea. Oh. Oh. Oh.
I don't understand. How do you die?
She crawls into your bed and sits on your face. Oh. Oh.
So, Widow's Bay drops on Apple TV Plus on April 29th, and I've been thinking about why am I actually that level of excited for this one. And not in a vague, this looks kinda cool, mysterious and shit, but actually what are the reasons? And there are a few concrete ones here, and once you line them up, I think you're gonna be convinced too. The first one is the setting, and not just the aesthetic of it, but what it actually does to the story. An isolated island off the coast of New England, probably no Wi-Fi, probably very spotty cell reception, locals who clearly know more than they're saying, and something underneath of it all that is just wrong. If you watched From, if you've played Alan Wake 2, if that whole category of contained place where reality starts to break works for you, then this already checks a very specific box, because isolation here isn't just atmosphere, it's a system. Nobody's gonna call for help, nobody is casually leaving, there is no outside perspective coming in to stabilize things. Whatever is happening on that island is forced to develop in a closed loop. And that's always when things get very, very interesting. Second of all, and this one matters more than people think, it's an original story. There's no book behind it, no adaptation layer, no pre-existing explanation floating around online. No one in the comments saying, actually this is all explained in chapter 14, I read the book, I'm such a good nerd. Which means we're back in that very specific mode of watching where everything is happening in real time. The same space that Severance and From have, where theories aren't just optional, they're part of the experience. That window where nobody knows anything yet and every detail could matter is extremely rare, and Widow's Bay is starting exactly here.
Was there cannibalism?
No.
Now the third part is it's Apple TV. And yeah, they miss sometimes too, everybody does, but the baseline is still very different from most platforms. You look at things like Severance again, Blackbird, Ted Lasso, For All Mankind, First Seasons, Pluribus, and many, many more. There's a pattern here, not just in quality but in pacing. They tend to let shows breathe. They don't rush the structure, and for something built on mystery, that's crucial. Reason number 4 is the creative team. Yes, I was not really convinced about Katie Dippold as creator because her background leans heavily into comedy, and it wasn't immediately clear how that translates into this kind of a, horror material. But then you see that Hiro Murai is directing a lot of episodes, and that changes the equation quite a bit. His track record is extremely consistent, and he's been dropping nothing but bangers lately. Also in cast you have Matthew Rhys and Stephen Root. Both of them tend to elevate whatever story or whatever movie they're in just by their presence. So actually I'm pretty positive we're gonna see some very strong, solid acting, a very interesting post-production and cinematography, and hopefully very engaging story. Now reason number 4 is the most important one. It's actually the trailers. I was pretty afraid, as I told you, that it's gonna be some kind of a comedy with maybe some horror elements, but the trailers convinced me otherwise. Yes, they have some funny moments in the TV show, like this one.
I don't understand. How do you die?
She crawls into your bed and sits on your face.
not the worst way to go if you ask me. But the core of the trailers is a very strange, quiet and very deliberate vibe. And more importantly, the folklore isn't just background decoration, it's clearly the center of the show. The sea hag, the rituals, the history layered into the town, all of it reads like the main subject, not just flavor.
Have you ever heard of a hag?
Every sailor knows the story of the hag.
Which brings me to the last part and probably the biggest one for me personally, the hag itself. Because this isn't just random horror imagery, this is real folklore and it maps directly into something very specific, sleep paralysis, the state where you're awake but you cannot move and you feel something in the room with you. This is a real condition that is pretty scary for a lot of people, and if you never had one, hopefully you never will. And probably sleep paralysis, especially for sailors, especially in the ye old era, is what actually gave birth to all of the legends about the hag. And the trailer shows that almost exactly. The main character pinned down, fully conscious, completely unable to react while the presence is right there. No, it's not all. Of course you have that shot, for example, of the townspeople walking toward the fire with their mouths open, which lines up directly with the idea of breath being taken, being stolen from them, which is kinda the core part of the hag mythology. It's not just reference the folklore, it's using its internal logic. I'm not gonna cover here all of the trailer because I still don't see that much of the interest towards the show, and hopefully that's something that will change, because looks like we're gonna have a lot of interesting details. For example, mushrooms here preserved on ice, a burnt church with hints that cannibalism happened here at some point, the well in the forest, the woman in the path wagon. None of the things have clear explanations yet, but they're placed in a way that suggests they will connect, and this is something that we pretty much live for here in this channel. We love those mystery box TV shows that allowed us to connect puzzle pieces together and revealing the bigger picture, building theories, making observation, connecting with each other, building a community around this quest for truth, even though this truth is pretty much confined to one TV show. Now at this point I'm 100% convinced that the creators know that we are their audience. For example, watch this, one of the first teasers that they released.
Welcome to Widow's Bay. There's so much to see here. Come with me. I'll show you around.
Now, if you have been watching this without pausing it at some moments, you probably missed that there was a very dark, menacing figure that appeared for just a split of a second, which right away tells me the creators know who the audience is, who are those crazy people like me and you that will stop the video, that will find this exactly split of a second of a moment and realize that there is something mysterious and ominous happening in this TV show. So they know who we are and they know what we love, and this gives me a lot of hope that we will have a lot of those moments, a lot of interesting details put there on the background for us to discover. I know that you're that kind of person if you're watching my channel. You love Severance, you love From, you love Mystery Box, you love diving in those TV shows. And hopefully so far Widow's Bay kinda hinting to us that they are in the same lane. Maybe on April 29th we're gonna be proven wrong. Maybe I'm gonna be proven wrong and this TV show is not gonna be compelling, interesting, and not at all mysterious. It's just gonna be very stupid humor jokes and without any substance. But so far everything that I have seen kinda looks very interesting. It gives me the vibe of Twin Peaks, of all the mysterious shows with horror elements that I love. And having the stamp of Apple TV Plus on it kinda gives me hope that maybe we're gonna have some very interesting journey and very interesting mystery to dive into. I would love to know what you think about this. Are you excited about this, or are you just willing to give it a chance? I would love to know what you think in the comments. Thanks everybody who supports me on Patreon and on YouTube. Your financial help is what makes this channel possible. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Meanwhile, bye!